Chief Warrant Officer 2 now, RJ
Two.
Davis. Dude, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It was, it's so weird to I came in as a PB2, man. Like,
What year?
2013, I enlisted.
Damn,
Dude,
dude.
how wild is that? Yeah.
That's crazy. War was still
Yeah.
going on. Two of them.
Yeah. Two of them were still going on. Shortly after, in 2014, I went overseas for 10 months, like 10 or 11 months. Um,
Damn. Like
yeah,
pretty fresh out of basic and OSUT or whatever.
yeah, fresh out of basic. So I went to basic. I went to AIT. When I was in AIT, my old first sergeant hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Afghanistan in November?" I was like, "I mean, I ain't got nothing else to do, so
Damn,
so
dude.
sure." He's like, "Yeah, I'll go." He's like, "All right, yeah, we'll get you on the list, and we'll follow up with you whenever you get back, because this is like 3 weeks before I graduated AIT." So he's like, "We'll see you here
Damn.
in a few weeks," and I was like, "All right, cool."
You had no downtime after AIT? Like maybe you went home for a couple days or something?
I went home. So originally, when I enlisted, I was in the reserves. So it was a weird transition period. So I went home. I think I graduated at AIT in June, and I was home for like a month. And then at the end of July, early August, I started going back and forth to Texas because that's where all the training was taking place. So
Yeah.
I was gone once a month, regardless, like whether it was a week or a few days here and there. I was gone once a month up until Sep- um, I think November, October and November, we left to Fort Hood to do our pre-mobilization. And then I came back in December for Christmas. Also, my dad had passed away while I was out in Texas, and my chain of command let me go home a little earlier to spend time with my family and stuff.
Damn.
So yeah, it was like a lot all at once. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I look back to that time a lot.
Yeah, does it like how old were you when that was going on?
um, I was I was 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was turning 24. Excuse me. Yeah.
Damn. What a formative time. Like that's
Yeah.
I've been going through this stuff like I was only in the army 3.5 years, but like I still have dreams about like the
Hmm.
army and it's like, dude, that's only like a short amount of time. I'm 38. I've been out for 12 years now.
Hmm.
But that's just such a formative time, I think, in humans' life when it's just like, oh, I'm a full grown adult now. What am I
Hmm.
doing? And it's like, well, you're fucking going to Afghanistan. Like that's what
Yeah.
you're doing. Like that's crazy. And your dad dies. Like that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like what was that like being in the military? 'Cause I don't think people understand like big life shit happens and you're just in the military and it's like, dude, you can't just take off. There's no like
No.
sick days in the military. You just like, what was that like?
Yeah, it is a love-hate relationship that around that time for me. So I had never really you don't really think about your parents passing away at all. So when that
No.
happened, you are absolutely right. That age range is, I always say, maybe 18 to 25, 26. There's a lot going on because
Yeah.
you're an adult, but you're still super young and you're trying
Yeah.
to kind of establish yourself and meet new people, find a career, start relationships. So there's a lot going on in those years. You're trying to find yourself. So when that happened, it's not, and you're right, there's not you can't just be like, oh, well, I'm going to leave tomorrow. You know, there's a process you have to go through to get I guess permission to leave. Um, Typically it's American Red Cross comes in and everything works out and you're able to go home. But civilian side, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, I'm buying a plane ticket, I'm leaving tomorrow, done.
Yeah.
So um, that happened. Luckily, my leadership, everyone was super. They were very concerned. They were very. They approached me and talked to me and made sure I was okay. And Um, if you need anything, like let me know. Everybody's very supportive, so I had no issues at all getting back to Arizona, which was where my dad lived. And I got back to Arizona, hung out with my family for a little bit. I spent Christmas here. And then they gave me the option. They were like, well, I mean, you don't have to go if you don't want to. And I knew, like, I was like, nah, because my dad was super excited for me.
Yeah.
He was real excited. He was just like, it's a good opportunity. You can actually, like, serve your country. And granted, you're seeing a different place in the world. Maybe it's not the best place, but, you're still going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I told him right away, I was like, no, I'm going to go. Like, my dad would want me to. So I'm going to go. And I went.
Damn, dude. And you went, what did you enlist as? Like, what was your MLS when you enlisted?
I was a combo guy, so I was a 25 Lima, and that's not even a thing anymore.
What?
Yeah, they got rid of those. A combo MOS. They merged. There was like 14 combo MOSs, and they merged them together. I think there's like seven now.
Oh, okay.
So what
Damn.
happened? Yeah, dude, it was kind of obvious though, like because you would go if you're a combo guy or gal, I guess. A lot of what you would learn is like everyone kind of learned each other's jobs, so really you could kind of do it all with some exceptions.
Yeah.
So the army was like, well, we're just going to condense them. So,
Damn. Were you
yeah.
attached to like an infantry unit or something like? How does that work?
No, so I went with it was a reserve unit out of Puerto Rico. We went down, we staged in Kuwait, and then we split off from Kuwait in like different countries all over the Middle East pretty much. And I helped out just basically anybody that like needed, um, help with any setting up like an infrastructure or something like that. We would go in and help them, whether it was like the physical setup or the like the network setup. Like we go in there and help them establish that. So it was pretty cool to see that kind of stuff, but it wasn't really like my speed, I guess. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it. I just didn't feel like I felt like I can do a little bit more.
Were you expecting maybe something else and then you got over there and it was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah, I wasn't. I knew because I wasn't an infantry unit, so I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to be like uh, going out and conducting missions or whatever because that's not my job. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to do that. However, I was expecting like it to be a little. Um, Kuwait wasn't too bad. When you get to Afghanistan, it's different. There's like you're actually like looking around, even though you're on base, just kind of like always like looking around. And I remember like I think the first day I got there, the engineers had found an IED and they detonated it like way outside of the base, and it was a fucking huge explosion. And I was
Damn.
like, what? What the fuck? One of my, yeah, dude, I was like, what the hell? And my squad leader at the time, he was like, yep, you're not Kuwait anymore, man. I was like, oh shit, all right.
Like I'm actually in like a war zone now.
Yeah, actually, like literally in Afghanistan, I was in Kandahar. So he was like, yeah, you gotta like, granted, we're on a secure base. We had good defenses up and stuff like that. So, but still, it was like, you're not in Kuwait. You gotta be a little more aware here. I was like, all right.
When you got back, did you feel yourself like, oh, maybe I was like, were you on edge? Not on edge, but just on alert. Obviously, whenever you're just on the base, and then when you get home and you don't have to like notice explosions and all of that shit, like could you feel that kind of difference?
So for me, it wasn't that bad. I didn't like big crowds for a while. I would just get kind of like antsy around them. At the time, I was like, I didn't really know why. I was just like, I don't like. There's a lot of people here. Like you go to the mall or something like that. But it
Yeah,
wasn't anything where I was like, oh, I might have PTSD or something, or like, there might be like maybe fireworks or something would go off, and like I wasn't scared of it at all. So I didn't have a real difficult time adjusting to coming back to the States and kind of slowing down a little bit. So I'm pretty lucky because I know there's definitely people out there that had a way more difficult transition than I did.
yeah. And then when did you go? like full on active duty? Was it pretty shortly after that?
Well, kind of. So shortly after that, so I got back from my deployment, and I mean, at the time, like I was literally basic AIT deployment, right? So like my gas or my foot had been on the pedal like since I enlisted,
Yeah.
and I got back to my unit. It was a reserve unit, and it just like immediately hit the brakes, right? And I think I went to like two drills, and I was like, God, this kind of sucks. I don't like this at
Yeah.
all. I feel like I lost a sense of purpose. Like I was just like, oh, this is lame, man. Like I want to do something cool. So
Yeah.
I found a drill sergeant unit near my house because at the time my unit I was drilling with they were like 2 hours away, and this training unit was about 30 minutes away from my house. So I interviewed with the first sergeant and the commander. I was a specialist at the time. And they're like, usually we don't bring specialists in, but you seem like a pretty stand-up guy. You seem pretty high speed and all that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and bring you on. We'll initiate the transfer and all that good stuff. It's like, all right, cool. So I transferred. I did like several best warrior competitions. I went to drill sergeant school, and then
Oh
that's
yeah.
when I went active duty. I went active duty. I spent a year and a half at Fort Leonard Wood. I was a drill
Oh
sergeant
no
there.
shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Dude, okay, hold on. What does a fucking drill sergeant reserve unit look like? Like, what does that even mean?
It was pretty chill, man. I'm not gonna lie. So we had like, I think there was like 20 people in the company, and everybody's an NCO, so you don't have any junior soldiers. And we used to do some cool shit. Like we would go, um, we would provide training for various units. I remember I went the unit I deployed with. A couple years later, they were deploying again, and they had hit me up, and they're like, "Hey, can you if we request three of your guys, can you guys come down here and like help us train before deployment?" I'm like, "Sure." So they
Yeah.
paid for everything. They flew three of the drill sergeants down there, and I got to see like the people I deployed with when I was a PV2,
Oh
and I
shit.
showed up, and I was a drill sergeant at the time, like I helped with training, so that was sweet.
Damn, so
Um,
like reserve drill sergeants are really like trainers, basically, it sounds like.
yeah, yeah. So we would get tasked out. We would do anytime we would do a drill. It was pretty cool. We would go to the range. The range was always fun. We would do like sometimes like the Blackhawks would pick us up and they would fly us out somewhere, and then we would ruck back.
Hell yeah.
Um, it wasn't every time I had a drill there, I was like, yo, this is fun. Like, this is cool. I
Yeah.
like this.
And then you went to drill sergeant school. I gotta hear about drill sergeant school.
So drill sergeant school. So I'll have to back up a little bit. So I went.
Yeah.
I got to the unit. When I got to the unit, the month after, they're like, "Hey, you're doing this best warrior competition," and I was like, "What does that even mean?" And they were like, "It's basically like basic training in like 5 days," and I was like, "What?" Like,
All
all right,
right.
I guess I'll go give it a shot. And I ended up making it all the way to our training command, the training command competition. So it was a battalion, brigade,
Yeah.
division training command, and I made it all the way up there, and it was a blast, man. I met a lot of good people. Did stuff that I never thought I would do. Plenty of times I was like exhausted and hungry, whatever. But after I did all those competitions, I came back, and my platoon sergeant at the time was like, "Hey, uh, I I put in a request for you to get like promoted early because like you did these events and you did a really good job, and we're trying to get you to drill sergeant school as soon as possible." I was like, "All right, cool." So they cut me orders to go to drill sergeant school, and I was still a specialist, right? And
Damn.
yeah, you can go as a specialist, right? But they had told me they were like, "You're gonna be a sergeant before you go. Like, don't worry." And I was like, "All right, I trust you."
Yeah.
And I got my orders the day before I left. So I showed up as an
Yeah.
E5.
Fuckers.
Yeah, I showed up as an E5, and I was like, "All right, cool." Like that kind of takes some of the eyes off of me.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, it was not. Drill sergeant school was like the first week is pretty intense, and I went in 2017, so I don't. It could have changed now. I know it's still intense, but as far as like the structure, it could be a little different.
Yeah.
Um, It mirrors basic though. Like the first like week and a half is you're just getting yelled at extra now,
Yeah.
because you're an NCO and you want to train younger soldiers and stuff. So
Do you have a different mindset? Is it like, okay, I know that this is for a reason, so I can like look out for like, oh, they're only yelling at me during this part, or is it still like this? What the fuck?
it was like back and forth for me, man. Like there were some times where I was like, okay, I understand that. Like I'll get yelled at for that, or I know what they're
Yeah.
trying to do. And there were some times where I was like, I'm lost. why, why are you yelling at me?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a lot of
Damn. So
memorization. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, I was gonna say like, how long did that like mirroring basic last? Did you say?
It was about a week and a half.
Yeah.
And
Still
about,
sucks.
yeah, so still sucks. Super long days. You were still done at around like 1700, 1730, but you still had a lot of studying we had to do. We had a lot of tests. There was a lot of
Yeah.
memorization, memorizing like pages of stuff. You had to say it verbatim. Um,
Oh shit.
yeah, and I know they still do that. The way that we did it is like they have a study guide pretty much, or like a book, and there's like I guess call them chapters, and certain chapters have like eight. Um, and one would be like the position of attention, parade rest, and it like talks about how you execute it. And there's like
Yeah.
parts to it, and they're long. Some of them are long, man, like over a page.
Oh
And
shit.
the way we did it, it was like, all right, they called it pitching. You're gonna pitch these on Thursday, or on, yeah, Thursday. So Wednesday at 1600, what they would do is they would hold out like a deck of cards that have like the different position of attention, parade rest, like the salute or whatever, and they'd have them face
Yeah.
down, and then you would pick the one and flip it, and they'd be like, all right, you're pitching that one tomorrow. And then you go back to your room and you're like, oh, I gotta focus in on this one. So it was like
Damn.
hectic. Yeah, dude, it was hectic
I
for
guess I
me.
never even thought of like, yeah, I guess they want every drill sergeant across the entire army to say the exact same thing. That way everybody knows the exact same thing.
Mhm.
Everybody's learning the same thing. I guess I never thought
Right.
of it that way.
Yeah.
Damn. You guys are
Yeah.
fucking on point when it's like, when it comes to marching and shit, it's like, no, you're
Yeah.
fucking told as if you're a dumbass. He's like, got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was good to see the transition. You learned about that too, like because you can't just yell at someone for however long, basic 10 weeks if you're an OSET. Like at some point you're gonna have to stop yelling and you're gonna have to be more of an instructor. So that
Yeah.
was really the cool part to learn about and get to experience in drill sergeant school. And that was like maybe around week two is when they started calming down a little bit. And they would just sit there and you'd go through classes. You'd have like situation based stuff. You still marched. They expect you to learn cadence and sing cadence. You did a lot of PT. Um, but the coolest thing was just like, all right, now it's kind of time to take the hat off, and I'm going to be a teacher now, and you guys are going to learn from me. So that was cool.
That's cool. Did you
Mhm.
have like, was there like a homie that you were like, okay, this dude's cool. Like I'll actually learn from him during this drill sergeant school. Like I want to like fuck with people like him or whatever.
Yeah, man. Actually, he's one of my best friends. His name is Colton Honeycutt. I talk to him every day.
Dude, I fucking follow him from the Honeybeer days too. Holy shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honeycutt. Yeah. He's one of my best. I talk to him every day, dude. Every day. And we met in drill sergeant school.
No shit.
Yeah. That's how we became acquainted. And like ever since we met, like to now, like we have developed a really strong relationship. And it's like super cool to share those experiences. He was at Fort Leonard Wood as well. He was in a different unit. Um, but it was super cool to like have a similar experience. And yeah, he's like one of my best friends, man. Like he's a good guy.
That's cool. What part
Yeah.
of, okay, so when I need to send you my book, by the way. Did I ever send you a copy? I forget.
I don't think so.
I'm going to send you a copy. But
Okay.
talk about basic in there. And we were in, I was an MP, so we were in these fucking trailers in the
Yep.
parking lot of the new like MP building. At the time, it was like brand new when I got there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I know they're not there anymore, but every time
Mhm.
you say Fort Leonard Wood, I'm like, holy shit, like it
Probably takes
just
you back.
mind rushes back. Yeah, it's like damn, like we had to walk,
Yeah.
we had to march to their like defect to eat our food and like wait outside like a bunch of peasants while the rich boys, as we call them, like finish their
Yeah.
shit.
That's funny. The rich boys. That's funny because
Like
you
they
guys
had
were
a
in the
fucking
trailer.
track. They had a track and we had like an
Yeah.
asphalt parking lot to fucking
Dude, those
run
things were
laps on.
nice.
Dude, they're fucking nice.
Yeah. Those starships are super nice. Like,
Is
I
that
was lucky to
is
be
that
in
just
one.
what the army does? Like now, like Fort Jackson and Leonard Wood and all these places just have those.
Yeah, because even when I went to Jackson, we didn't have a track in the middle, but if you like walked down the hill, there was a track, so and it was close enough to walk to. But I was in the starships at Leonard Wood. I had the track in the middle and like all the different companies around it, and that was
Yeah,
super nice, man. That was
dude.
super
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so what you got out of that, and what was how long until your first like cycle, like as a drill sergeant?
So I went, I got there in like May of 2018, and we picked up in May. I think it was like the end of May.
Oh
So
shit! Like they just put you
yeah,
right to work.
it was quick. Yeah, I showed up to reception, and my first sergeant commander were there. They're like, "Hey, you're coming to our company. We're gonna get you down there and process you, and like we pick up here in a couple weeks." I was like, "All right, cool." So I was the baby drill. I showed up, and I was like, this is what I learned. They asked me about school and how it's a little different now as when they went. And then there was a couple of them, gave me some tips and stuff. And then the day we picked up, it was just like, all right, this is it. Like, let's fucking do
Damn.
it.
Okay, back to drill sergeant school. Did you
Mm.
was there like fucking around going on like whenever you went through basic training, trying to fucking sneak candy and shit and like I would always trade fucking my
Yeah,
candy bar for whole MRE for sugar babies and shit. Like was
yeah,
that
you just
going on
start.
or was it like a professional or was it like a professional we're all professionals here?
No, because we had our own rooms.
Yeah.
So like the one rule is like you couldn't drink in your room. That was the one rule.
Okay.
And I was like, that's fine with me, like I didn't have a problem with it. I know there was a guy in the cycle ahead of me the day before he graduated, he locked himself out of his room. And when they let him in, they saw a bottle of Jack on his desk and they fucking
Oh,
dropped him from it. Yeah, dude.
oh, come on, dude.
I was like, bro, you could have waited one more day and like been fine.
Oh man. Okay, so
Yeah,
you pick up like were you fucking amped up to, like go pick up these brand ass new privates, man,
brand new, man.
smelling straight from reception. Like I can still see reception at Fort Leonard Wood. Like
Yeah,
they are so pumped. You're so pumped to finally leave reception. You got your fucking uniform on, you little duffel
yeah.
bag. Like were you what was your mindset as a drill sergeant?
My mindset was just like, I was just like, man, I was like, I need to because they kept telling me like, you need to establish a power base right away.
Mm,
Because I was an E5, I was E5 at the time. So they're going to see like, you don't have a rocker and it'll probably like make them wonder why. Granted, they don't know a lot about the army anyway, but like it's still like
yeah.
you see someone with a lower
You're
rank, you're like,
different.
how? Yeah, like you're different. So like you need to establish power base. So I was like, all right, let's
Damn.
let's fucking establish a power base. And my first pickup, it was just like at the end of the whole like all the yelling when you're like trying right when you get off the bus, that lasts forever. I
Yeah.
remember like waiting. So we sent them upstairs and I walked into the CQ area, and dude, my head was pounding, pounding.
Oh,
I was
no
like,
shit. You were like,
I was like,
this is it.
yeah, I was like, my head, I was like, fuck, dude, I had a tension headache from yelling, and I was like, all right, and they were
How
just like,
long
hey,
does the
you,
yelling last? Like, how long did that last?
oh, dude, it's fuck, man, I wish maybe like 45 minutes.
Holy shit. So y'all start
Yeah,
yelling. Y'all get together and like, all right, we're about to fuck these people up. And as soon as the
yeah,
first person steps off that bus, everybody's yelling.
game, game, yep, it's on. Like it is a show.
Until the last person gets off.
The last person gets off, then you have to like form them up. You have to like show them the push up and like a couple other drills or something like that. And the whole time that's going on, like you're yelling, they got to get their duffel bags, and like their duffel bags have to be a certain way. And if they're not, you give them a time limit. They don't reach a time limit. You start just yeeting duffel bags, and you're yelling
Yes.
again. Oh, dude, we used to chuck those things. It was a blast. It was a blast.
I was
I
about to say,
remember,
like, was it pretty fun though?
yo, yeah, it was fun, man. Hell yeah, like you get done like because Leonard, you know how Leonard when it gets super hot and super cold. So during the
Yes.
summertime, it sucked because like you would get inside and you're just drenched, just
Yes.
soaked in sweat because it's so hot outside. You like pounded water and Gatorade. The defect used to give us lemon and honey, and I used to
Oh
just sit there and
shit.
like chew on the lemon and honey so that way your throat doesn't get all like fucked up because you're yelling a lot.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, dude, they would bring us like trays and you just leave them at the CQ desk. And before we would go upstairs, we would just grab a couple of them and then, suck on them for a little bit, throw them in the trash can, run upstairs, and you're like back at it, dude. Just, yeah.
So you get upstairs to your little, what, like platoon is
Like a
upstairs?
bay,
Is that
yeah.
how that? Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're like, all right,
Yeah.
here we go. What
Yep.
did you start doing? Like, because
You do a
they're
layout.
what? Oh, okay, cool. And you're
Yeah.
talking normal during the layout, right?
Yeah, usually one of them, like there'd be three up there. You try to have three per platoon. So one of them would talk normal, like, hey, this is, pull this item out. All right. And you're projecting, you're loud so everybody can hear you. And you're like, all right, you have like 15 seconds or like 10 seconds to find this item. And they're not going to reach it. So you already know, like, it's going to be, you start, oh, you failed. Cool. We're just going to do push ups or you do squats or whatever. You're yelling again, walking constantly up and down. Like, it gets exhausting, man. It gets exhausting, but you're so like,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, you're so like amped up. You just keep doing it. And then, anytime like you get a break, or like they're like going to a clash, something like that, you could feel like the adrenaline kind of leave your body, and you're like, ah, just like trying to keep your eyes open. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I guess you guys are like, what's the hours? Like, do y'all have like a schedule too, or is it just like you're gonna fucking be here until you're here?
We try to have so red phase is rough. Red phase is like you're there probably 04 to at least like 21:30, 22 every day.
Damn.
Yeah,
Fuck, dude.
yeah, it's really rough. You're super tired. You don't eat a lot. Um, so that's pretty rough. Once you get into white phase, you start like developing a schedule. And the cool thing is like we had a couple times. No, I'll say all my cycles. All my cycles, we had like at least three drill sergeants per platoon. So we could. Red phase was different, but like once, even towards the end of red phase, you could be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the gym for like 30 minutes. Once I'm
Oh
done,
hell
I'll come
yeah.
back and I'll replace you, and you could go knock out whatever you need to knock out." So like we definitely worked together. Even if it was a nap, like, oh, dude, I don't feel good. I'm gonna go take a nap. Cool, take a nap. I'll wake you up in like an
That's cool.
hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how are you? You said you didn't eat a lot. Like, how were y'all like taking care of yourself? Like, it sounds like you were still able to like go to the gym, something quick, grab
Yeah.
some fucking Chipotle or something. I don't know. Like, or was it just
Yeah.
like, give me this defect food, give me this MRE, I guess.
So sometime I think maybe it was on Fridays. One of us would cook for everybody. So Fridays
Oh
I always look
damn.
forward to. So like someone would bring in a ton of food you could eat. Um, Typically though, between that, I lived off protein bars for the
Hell
lot for
yeah.
like redfish, just like around a corner, like huffing down a protein bar, chugging some
Yeah.
water and some Gatorade, you know, back at it. Um,
You can't let these fucking stinky privates see you fucking eating or drinking water, dude. No
yeah,
way.
that was the game, and it was like, nah, they're not gonna see me eat yet. Like I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna
Yeah,
wait. We
yeah,
all
yeah.
we all did that. We all did that.
It was always so weird. I'm like, how are these motherfuckers like doing these rucks and all this shit with I haven't seen them drink water or eat anything, and they've just been
Yeah,
yelling at me. But then I was like,
yeah,
that's impossible. They're for sure like getting something in.
yeah, yeah. You find ways to like
Damn.
sneak in like a break or like a snack or something real quick. Maybe one of your buddies is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do a Starbucks run." And you're like, "Fuck, thank God."
Damn. So in
Yeah.
my book, I talk about just like the fuckery that goes on and like trading and swapping and playing the little private games. Like, what was the
Mm.
first one that you caught somebody like, oh, you got fucking a candy bar in your sock or whatever, like, or a dip or whatever the fuck. Like, what was that like?
Um, oh, there were so many. Camelbacks were always a place you could find a snack. Um,
Yeah,
that was always a big one. I remember I remember a kid. I don't really remember this guy's name. I know it started with an S. Um, there's a couple people that stand out when I think of my time at Leonard Wood, and he's one of them. And for probably like 2 weeks, he was coming down to formation. It might have been 3 weeks. It was coming down to formation, and everything. He was always wrong. He was always slow. He never had the right stuff on. He never had the right equipment, and you can expect that. But after like maybe a week and a half, like it starts tapering off, and they
yeah,
start catching on. But this guy just did not catch on. Like, what the
yeah.
fuck, dude? So tried multiple approaches with him, and couldn't figure out why. He gave a weird. I remember we used to do introductions where you like stand up, say your name, your MOS, where you're from, and like a fun fact. And he told us his name and stuff, and he pretty much told us that him and his brother, when they were younger, they made like a a bomb out of like Drano and tinfoil in their
Oh,
backyard,
oh
and
shit.
they blew it up, and like authorities were involved, and like he never got caught. And I was just sitting there like, bro, I don't know why or what made you want to say that, but don't ever open your mouth again. Like,
He's like, we're in a safe space, bro, right? We're in the
yeah,
army. We blow stuff up, right?
we made it. But anyways, like he kept this shit. It was a trend, you know. So finally, I was like, all right, I need to have a real conversation with this dude. So I pulled him aside with a battle buddy, and I was like, look, this is what's going on. You like, is something going on at home? You know, did someone write you a letter? I don't know, maybe like because they used to get a phone call on Sundays, like maybe a family member was sick and you heard about it or something like that. So like there's got to be something on your mind, right? And he was just like, no, I'm having a hard time. And I was like, okay, like he was a little out of shape. So I was like, all right, well, what did you do back home? He's like, oh, I just play video games. And that was common. I just play video games.
Yeah.
Like, all right, what about like your eating habits? Like, what did you eat? And it was like all fast food. And he ended up, I don't remember how he got there, but I asked him about coffee. And he said he wasn't a coffee drinker. And I was like, okay. But he's like, I drink soda. It has like caffeine in it. And I'm like, okay. Like, obviously, they don't get coffee and soda in basic. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, you drank soda. I was like, how much soda you drinking a day? Dude, it was a 12 pack of Coke a day.
What the fuck?
Dude was going
That's
through withdrawals.
crazy. Straight up. Like,
That
probably
straight up,
fucking
yeah,
cloudy headed, couldn't fucking
yeah,
think straight. Dude, and that
yeah.
was like, how long is reception typically? 10 days, a week, maybe?
Yeah, something like that, something like that.
So dude, we're 3 weeks into fucking withdrawal and you're
Exactly.
still having them.
Yeah.
Damn, that
So
is
that's why he
fucking
like couldn't
crazy.
focus, and I was just like, 12 a day. Like, you understand what you're doing to your body? It's like you're fucking destroying
Fuck.
it. Yeah,
Dude, it is crazy to see people literally detoxing off of like soda
yeah,
and like caffeine and sugar in basic training.
mm,
Because I had a whole different perception of what the type of people were at basic. Because I
yeah,
trained real hard. I ate fucking right going in. I thought basic was like buds, basically. Like I was thinking like
yeah,
I'm definitely not going to be the softest motherfucker here. No way,
yeah,
dude. And then first time you're doing push-ups and people can't even do one, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on around here?
dude, mind
And it's
blowing.
like, oh,
Yeah,
people are literally getting off the couch. That's what's happening.
yeah.
Like,
They
duh.
just, oh, I'll just get in shape and basic, and it's like, it's not really what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to come here a little prepared.
Yeah. Damn. What's
Yeah.
the first time you got to like flip a wall locker? And how fun was that?
Um, that was probably like my first cycle. It was like we would just go
Oh,
up
hell yeah.
there. There's always a lock unlocked, And
Yeah.
you're definitely just like, all right, this is unlocked. I'm gonna open it up, see what's in here. And there were rules like you couldn't touch their personal stuff. Obviously, like I didn't want to touch their underwear and stuff like that. Majority of the time, what we did to get around it, and I don't know if this is still done, but you couldn't touch. So if they had like shampoo and toothpaste and stuff, like you weren't allowed to touch it, and it makes sense because they buy that with their money, and a lot of those kids don't have money.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you like go and dump out a bottle of shampoo, and you really never know someone's financial situation there. So like they
Yeah.
might not be able to afford another bottle of shampoo, and like there you are, just wasted it, and now like it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Um, so what we did is we would buy our own. So we would just buy our own cheap shampoo or like toothpaste, shaving cream, and when we wanted to mess something up, we would just go and spray it on the floor or whatever.
Fuck yeah.
Um, yeah, throw the sheets off the bed, or just it was we play music, dude, and like we just be in there, just rolling the lockers around, kind of messing it up. Um, we would set up like a little dummy with like an ACH on it, and like the mop
Oh
bucket
yeah.
was out. I don't know. We It was fun, man. It was fun. And then towards the end of the cycle, like they would, because at the end of the cycle, you have a conversation with them. Like, all right, I would always say like, all right, what'd you guys get away with? Open
Yeah, yeah.
floor, no one's getting punished. What'd you guys get away with? And that would lead into like, um, when you fucked the bay up this time, like it was actually like we were pretty surprised at some of the stuff that you guys did. You're like, oh shit, all right, cool, cool.
Cool,
Like they weren't
cool.
they weren't as butthurt about it as some people think they might be, because they kind of
Yeah.
expected it. So that was always it was good to have a conversation with them because at the end of the day, they are humans too. So like it's cool to see how their mind worked throughout that process.
Yeah. I was lucky enough, on the ride over from reception,
Mm.
did y'all still use cattle trucks? Do they still use those things?
They still use cattle trucks. I was on a bus, and we had buses, but I've seen the cattle trucks before.
Yeah, I was jammed into one of those and a drill sergeant like stepped on my head and she like bent down and was like, "Hey, sorry, bro." And I was like, "Oh, they're just fucking humans too. Like this is just a
Yeah.
bro. Like this is just doing their job." So I kind of had that mindset of like, this is just their job. This is a game, like whatever. But
Mm.
some people take that shit hard, and it's like,
Mm.
"Oh, you never played sports growing up and got yelled at, or like
Uh,
I don't know what you've been doing, but like we just get yelled at. Yeah, duh. We're in the fucking army."
in the
So
army.
it was an
Yeah.
interesting thing to see people be surprised by. Just like, did you not, I don't know, watch some fucking YouTube videos of what happens? Like,
Yeah. Even like, did you talk to your recruiter at all? Like your recruiter probably told
yeah,
you what to expect, or maybe you have friends. A lot of them have family members that have already been in, so it's like, did you not talk to them and know what to expect? And you just be
yeah.
surprised. Some of them just like literally showed up. Like, yeah, I didn't look at anything. You're like, yeah, I can tell.
Did you ever have like a oh shit moment when you're teaching like grenades or even at ranges and shit during any of your cycles?
um, yeah, not with the grenades. We had a female, and she was really good. She was high speed, man. She listened. Did everything she was supposed to do. Didn't complain. She was a little platoon leader for a while. But she was on buddy team live fire. Where you and your friend are running and stopping and shooting and stuff.
Yeah,
Her friend was throwing the fake grenade, and
yeah.
right when she threw it, she put her weapon down and then like dropped down to cover her head. And my buddy, we heard a loud bang, and we were like, "Fuck!" Like I looked at him and I was like, "Damn, I was kind of close." And I was like looking, and we started looking around to see if the grenade, like maybe, because those grenades, they're not gonna. If you hold on to it, it'll like blow your finger. It's like a firework. Um,
Yeah.
but we were like, maybe it just rolled back towards us and it was really loud. Well, like she ended up when she put her weapon down, she didn't put it on safe, and she actually like shot around through the barrier that was in front of her, and like a bunch of wood pieces flew up and hit us in the face, and that's what that
Oh
was. So
shit.
then, yeah, we looked down, and right away, like she started freaking out.
Oh,
She
for
was
sure.
she started crying, was like panicking, and pretty much was like, "Are you guys gonna kick me out?" And we are like, "Chill, nobody's hurt. this is a good teaching point. We're gonna walk back
Yeah.
and we're gonna explain some stuff, but like you're good. Don't go fucking telling everybody. But like this is
Yeah, yeah, actually, because
yeah
we would have to talk to first sergeant and
yeah, and it would get pretty messy. But because she was like she understood what happened and she wasn't like I said she wasn't a bad soldier. She's really good. Um, we explained to her like yeah, this is why we take this very seriously and slow and deliberate and um, unfortunately like this happened. Nobody got hurt though, so
there you
go
go.
sit down.
Did you do you guys have like a is it like a still a structured chain of command with when you're a drill sergeant, or is it everybody just trying to survive? Like, fuck, we just have to like get through this, or you and counsel and all that shit too.
No, there was like we all really worked together. There was even though I was E5 and I wasn't the only E5, we had a couple E5s. Even up to the E7s, like we all worked together because everyone was tired, everyone was hungry, everyone just wanted to get through today. So we all worked together and made it a little bit easier for us. So that was super nice. I was really lucky to have that.
Yeah. Did you have a family during this time, married or kids or anything?
Yeah, I was married at the time, and I had my oldest was 2,
Dude, what was
so
that like?
it
Like
was
those
rough,
red
man.
phase hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Is that
super rough.
because my wife and I got married when I was halfway through, and she stayed over in Texas because I knew that we had decided that I was going to get out, not make it a career. So ours
Mhm.
was a little bit different, but I just saw like, I couldn't imagine. Was that just a conversation like, hey, this is just how it's going to be? This is what I want to be doing. It's going to be 18-hour days for a little bit. Like,
Mhm.
what was that even like? Like having a family, a whole ass family.
It was. I feel like difficult is not the right word because it's not strong enough, but I'll use
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's just super difficult. I pretty much told her like I am young in my career and in my position, so there's gonna be a lot more expected of me to like learn and stuff. And I knew like red phase. I already been told about red phase. Red phase is gonna be all hands on deck for as long as we can be here. So it was definitely rough mentally, emotionally, physically. Like some nights I would get home and my daughter had already fallen asleep a couple hours before that. Um, I would have like dinner. Dinner was in the microwave. Just warm it up
yeah.
when I get home. I'd shovel it down, shower, go to sleep, and I would get up like 4 hours later and just do the same thing. So I pretty much told her like as the cycle goes on, there'll be more time for stuff to do family wise built into it. So if we can make it through 3 weeks, it gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And then if you had CQ, because one person had to stay there at all times, if you had CQ, then you had the next day off. But if you didn't sleep on CQ, the next day you were even more tired. So I tried to, because you had to do your checks and stuff. So I would try and like set my alarm on my watch for as long as I could, sleep in between, get up, do my checks, maybe eat something real quick, go back to sleep, get up, do my checks. That way, when I got home the next morning, I would usually get home a couple hours before they even woke up. I would take like another nap, and then we'd get up for the day. I was still like a
Nice.
zombie, but it wasn't as bad.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah. Damn. How many cycles did you do? And how long did that
Um,
take you?
I did 6 cycles, so I did 3 BCT, so basic training, and then I did 3 OSET. I didn't finish my last OSET cycle because I PCSed back to Arizona. But I got lucky because I got to see BCT and OSET. So I got to see both
Yeah.
sides of the training. So that was cool.
What'd you like better?
OSET,
Yeah.
100%.
Longer.
Yeah,
You like the teaching part, it sounds like, so you actually get to do
yeah.
that part more.
Also, like, I feel like the the soldiers that showed up to OSET kind of had higher expectations. So
Yeah.
they were more hungry. They were just like, oh, we looked at all these. I was an engineer, I was set. So they were combat engineers. So they had
Oh
looked at all
shit.
the videos. Yeah, they looked at all the videos and like the explosions and like the shooting and like all this high speed shit. So a majority of them would show up and expect that. So they wanted you to like drive them and push them and like they wanted you to smoke them much as much as like it was a punishment. Majority of them like enjoyed it and eventually they saw the benefit of it. BCT was a little different. BCT was a little more difficult to see that because sometimes you would get. I had like an X-ray technician come in one time and like I don't even remember. It was an X-ray technician and another 68 series. She was like a psychological analysis or something, and she had a degree and stuff, and like she was gonna go do some program or whatever, but she had to go to basic first. So I remember talking to her and the X-ray technician, and I was just like, "Damn, you guys are probably never gonna do this again." So
Yeah, ever.
I understand like why you might be a little less inclined to perform at these events, but like we still need you to do this shit, you know?
Yeah. Damn. And you were
Yeah.
active duty? Like you had already switched over to active duty
I
during
was
that
on
time?
active orders.
Oh,
And
got it.
then, yeah, once the active duty orders, once they ended, I went back to the reserves. But while I was on the trail, I started my flight packet.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, dude.
So you were like, at that point, you had kind of decided you wanted to make it a career of the army.
Yeah, because I had like a little over 4 years of active duty time in my 6 years in the reserves. So
Damn.
I was like, damn, I might as well just go active duty. Like,
Yeah.
it's just seems like the right thing to do. The stability is nice, and I kind of like the army. You know, it's cool. I got to do some cool stuff. So I went to airborne school, July of 2018, and while I was there, I met I met a good group of friends. I went as an NCO, which they're a little bit. It's a little bit easier if you're an NCO. I don't want to say like the standards are lower for you, but it's like you get to breathe a little bit more than some of like the PV2s and the PFCs and stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Um, so we had a group of NCOs, like 5 or 6 of us, and we used to hang out a lot and like study whatever we needed to study or whatever. And my friend Andrea Cruz, she's actually a Blackhawk pilot. She like it was after the DFAC one time. We were all just sitting around, and she was like talking about she had just gotten picked up. She was like, "Dude, you should do it. Like, I'm telling you, now's the time to now's the time to drop your packet. You know, you get to fly and blah blah blah." And I was like, I don't know. I just got to Leonardwood. I kind of like doing the drill sergeant thing, but I was like, I'll give it some thought. I think like a cycle later, I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop my packet because I was just
Yeah, yeah,
tired.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I was like,
tiredness made you
fuck.
actually do it.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your packet together and do all that?
Oh man, it was a minute. I started it October 2018, and I went to walks in June of 2020.
Oh shit.
Yeah, dude, it
What
was a
took
lot.
so I mean just the bureaucracy of the army, but other than that, was
Uh,
it certain things that you had to do or get together and find?
it was so the biggest holdup was because I was going active duty, but I was in the reserves, and the Army considered that a component change, like if you go to the Air Force or like the Navy. So I had to
Oh,
get
what?
released. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I had to go through MEPS again, not the full MEPS, but it was still kind of weird. But I'll get to that. But yeah, I had to go through that again, um, and I had to get this. It was one piece of paper, and a two-star general had to sign it, basically releasing me from the reserves to go active duty. And that paper, like it was like a nightmare, dude. They're like, oh man, I tried doing that 2 years ago and I haven't heard anything. I'm just like, what the fuck, 2 years? And I was like, fuck, man, I don't have 2 years. Like, I want to do this shit, soon. So I had a super, one of the coolest commanders I ever had. I told him, I was like, look, this is what I want to do. And he was like, I'm in your corner. Like, what do you need me to do? And I was like, all right, this one piece of paper, like, we just need to every week just call about it because it's got to go up all these freaking chains and everyone's got to look at it and sign it. And he helped me out a lot getting that push.
Yeah.
That took about 9 months.
Damn, dude, for a piece of
Yeah,
paper to get signed. That's crazy.
yeah, one piece of paper, and then that
And
got submitted
it's
with a
not even a
packet.
piece of paper. Yeah, it's not even a piece of paper that I mean it's sees it all the time probably. It's not like I need
Yeah,
fucking M&Ms in my room every day, make it happen. I need
yeah,
face tattoo. Like, no.
yeah.
Just want to go
It
active duty.
I just want to go active duty, man. That's it. So that took 9 months, and that was like one of the fastest he had ever seen. And then you submit your packet to a board. The board is, I think, a week long, and then you wait like so the board gets submitted. Like your submission date is like 2 months before the results come out. So like, and then mine was in between like Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I had to wait even longer.
Oh, yeah.
So
Nobody's
I was
working.
just like pulling hair out. Like, God damn, I just want to know if I made it or not. So
Damn.
it
Did you have
was it
to
was
go in
painful.
front of a board, like actually, or was it just your paperwork?
No, just a paper board. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the whole
Damn. And
packet
then
is
when,
like it's a lot of typing.
yeah. Oh, are you having to write like essays and all that stuff too?
You fill out like it's pretty much like your army career, like what you've done, the positions you've held, if you had any deployments, then like your civilian side, any jobs, any education, and then the last page is like it's one page, and you pretty much just like sell yourself. Like this is why I would add to the warrant officer cohort, and like this is why I'm suitable for this, and I'm a perfect candidate, and all that stuff. And you really gotta drive it home. Like pick me. Like I'm gonna be the best of the best.
Yeah. What was your
So,
selling line, you think? What'd you tell them? I'm fucking
dude,
sweet. This is awesome.
I don't even remember, man. I just remember like I had dictionary.com and thesaurus.com pulled up. And any time like I was about to use a word like very, like, oh, I'm very motivated, I'd go on thesaurus.com and I'd type in very. I would get different words with the same meaning. And I'd be like, oh, that looks like a good word. I plug it in and
Hell yeah.
go from there. And like, luckily, I'm a pretty decent writer, so it was a little easier for me. But I really think that's kind of like what separated me. And who knows? They could have been like, oh, this guy's cool, whatever. Not even read the thing. I don't know.
Damn,
Yeah.
did you have to pick like I want to flash your notes? Like, is it like kind of like a duty station list where you pick like what you would want to?
But yeah, it's all OML based. So you get to the first day of actually flying, you set your preferences. So you pick 4 aircraft and then 3 duty stations. 1 to 4, 1 to 3. The
Damn,
higher you are on the list, the more likely you are to get your what you want as long as it's available.
what is the fucking what are the four aircraft even? What are four aircraft that the army has?
And I get that a lot because typically people know 3, but the fourth one is the C-12, the plane, the little airplanes that we have.
Oh shit, yeah, the little
Yeah,
fucking spy airplanes that was on
yeah,
in Wiesbaden at the time before U.S. Army Europe built their headquarters as I was on the way out, and that was all that was on that.
yep, they're still there.
No shit.
Yeah, they're still there.
All right, are y'all flying in and out of Wiesbaden now that all that shit's there?
I've been there before. I'm not stationed there, but I fly there. Flown there a couple times. The Blackhawks are down
Yeah.
there, so they have the 60s and the C-12s down there, and then on Cotterbach they have the 47s and the Apaches.
Fuck yeah. We first AD was on the way out, and so it was like a base wide. When I kind of first month there,
Mm,
base wide, everybody comes to the ceremony, and they had fucking Abrams and Apaches lined up for their ceremony, dude, and it was so
that's
fucking
pretty
cool. I
sweet.
was like,
Yeah,
damn, if this is what the army's gonna be like, fucking sign me up. It
Yeah.
wasn't, but it was fucking cool to see. Like they were just hovering these fucking Apaches, and we're all standing under them. I was like, hell yeah, this is fucking sweet, dude.
It's badass.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what was the? Oh, I think you named four of them. Is there more than
Yeah.
four?
Uh, so you get to pick from those four. There are more than four. There's like the OH6, which is a little bird, but that's a whole different. Like you can't pick that at a flight school. You got to go 160th to be able to do
Yeah.
that. You have the MH47, which is similar to the CH47,
Okay.
and that it holds a little more fuel, and it's just a different configuration. They got a refuel boom on the front, so they could refuel in air. But yeah, I had my preferences never changed. So I had some friends that were like, I don't know, I'm gonna change it around. I'm gonna switch around a little bit. I think I'm feeling this a little bit more. Dude, day one, Chinook, number one. No
That was
questions
what you
asked.
wanted?
Oh yeah, no questions
Hell
asked.
yeah.
Never a doubt in my mind. I was like, I want to fly the Chinook. That's it. I had the Blackhawk second, um, the C-12 third, and then the Apache last because I wasn't interested in the Apaches. So
What made you most interested in the Chinook?
I went. So when I was at Fort Leonard at the time, we did a field exercise while I was in OSET, and a Chinook came and picked us up and like flew us around to different training areas. Yeah, and I got to stay on it while they had to do like 5 laps or 5 different like loops pretty much. Privates would get on, we'd go drop them off, we'd come back, pick more up, and I got to stay on the entire time. And I remember sitting in the back like, this is it right here. This is the
Fuck
machine.
yeah, dude.
This is the machine right here. This is where I want to be. Like, I was sold 100%. And I'm very thankful that I made it. I don't regret my decision at all. The Chinook community is really we're laid back. Everyone I've interacted with is really cool. Everyone's really chill, and we're really about our business. We love like showing what we can do.
That's badass. Those
Mhm.
Chinooks have the cool crew chiefs with the fucking mask and shit.
Yeah. Well, the Blackhawks have those too. They were the masks. We
Yeah.
both carry two. Typically, we'll carry two. There's sometimes you only have to have one, but typically both of us will have two
Yeah.
on there. And
Now flight school, how long was that?
flight school lasted. I think I was there for 16 months.
That
Yeah,
makes sense. Yep.
about 16 months. Super condensed. Um,
Yeah.
as much as I hate this term, but like or this phrase, they're like, oh yeah, it's drinking out of a fire hose. And to me, I'm like, why would you want to do that? You know, I don't. I don't want to drink out of a fire
Yeah, I'm
hose,
like,
man.
that
Just pour
hurts.
me a glass. Yeah, just. But the
Yeah.
army's like,
I'll
look, we're
chug
paying
it.
you. Oh yeah, I'll chug it. I'll slam the cup. I don't want to drink out of the fire hose though. But the army's pretty
No.
much like, hey man, we're paying you to. You don't have 4 years, right? We're paying you. We give you this much time, and we want you to learn in this much time. So like, make it happen. I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
It's in Alabama. Is that still
Yep.
true? Or was it ever
Yeah.
true? Alabama.
Yeah.
Dang.
Fort
And
Novo.
they just set you up with actual housing and you're just driving into base every day?
Yep. Yeah. Housing. We lived on post at the time, so which is the smartest thing to do because usually you're going into class super early. You're getting out when you fly nights, you get out super late, but most of the time you're getting out late anyway, and you're still
Yeah.
studying stuff. Everything you need to do is on post, so it's like, hey, you might as well just live on post.
And is it like a college classroom type atmosphere? Like we're here to learn this and become experts in this. Was that the vibe?
Yeah, that was a vibe. There's classes, so you have classes in the morning for 2 weeks, and then a flight line in the afternoon, and then after 2 weeks you switch. You have flight line in the morning, and then classes in the afternoon. And that'll go the whole time while you're in Common Core. Common Core is you're just learning how to fly. You don't have a Chinook yet. You don't have an aircraft. Your permanent
Okay.
aircraft. You're learning in the Lakota, the little Euro helicopter. I don't
Okay.
know if you've seen them, but they're a little smaller. They're a lot of fun. But you
Yeah.
learn those, and it gets hectic. Sometimes you get to class, and obviously you're exhausted, and you're just like, fuck, dude, am I almost
Yeah.
done yet?
Yeah. 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 How
Yeah.
long until you were actually up in the Little Lakota?
Uh, I think it was about 3 weeks.
That dude, that's not that long, really. Like that's
Now,
pretty crazy.
you do 3 weeks of ground school, which is pretty much just learn the basics of flying, aviation. You go over the Lakota and like all the components and stuff. And then after 3 weeks, you go to the flight line. And the flight line, you're in a classroom setting again, but this time you have an IP with you and you'll get quizzed on some stuff. They'll talk about what you're going to do. And then once you finish up, table talk is what we call it. You go out to the flight line and you start flying.
Damn, what was that
Mm.
experience like? Nervous? Or were you feeling pretty confident? Like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing.
Nah, I was nervous, man. I was nervous.
Fuck yeah.
Even though like I had a friend of mine, we would go to the simulator. The simulator was
Yeah.
open to anybody. You could go in there, sign in, and you could use it for a block of time. And we'd go in there and practice hovering, and like some of the friends we had were already flying, so they would come in on their free time, be like, "Hey, this is what's expected of you," yada yada yada. So I knew coming in, the first week was going to be really focused on hovering because hovering's the hardest.
Yeah.
And if you can hover quickly, you get out to flying faster, and that's what you want to do. Because your check ride, your test is not going to be, well, hovering's part of it, but primarily it's going to be your flying. So the more
Yeah.
time you have flying practicing, the better you'll be. So I knew like, all right, I got to hover decent, so that way I can get
Yeah.
out and actually start flying.
Was it how big of a difference was it between the simulator and when you're actually in the thing and there's actual atmosphere around you?
It's a pretty big difference. The simulator
Yeah.
isn't bad. It's good for some stuff, but it's hard. Hovering in the simulator is really hard. Um, there's a couple things in the simulator that are pretty difficult just because you can't see, like, you really don't have a peripheral vision. Like the screen stops like right here, so you can't see like out the sides. So that kind of
Oh
makes it
yeah.
difficult. And then also in the simulator, you could just like wreck into whatever you want and just reset it and you're done. And obviously in real life, you're like, all right, I got a ton of other helicopters around me. There's people, there's vehicles walking around, there's towers and there's antennas. So you're sitting
Damn.
there just like super nervous but trying to play it cool because you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah, you're like, did they make you a warrant officer after you graduate or when you're going into flight school?
When you're going into flight school, the first course you go to is walks, the Warrant Officer College. And once you graduate walks, it's 5 weeks. You pin W1, and then you're a W1 all through flight school. And up until recently, for my case, they changed the rules. Like usually, you'd spend about what was it, maybe 16 months in flight school, and then you went to your unit. And usually, like 6 months after you got to unit, you would pin W2. Well, they changed
Oh
it to
shit.
like, yeah, it was quick. Well, they changed it so after you graduated, your time in grade would reset. So pretty much the time you spent as a W1 in flight school went back to zero. Yeah,
Oh, come on.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So
Damn.
kind of
Okay, so then how long until your first are you like your career like this is it for you? You're gonna make it to 20 or beyond?
pretty much, I'm still weighing my options, but at the end of this contract, I'll be at 16 years. So it's like, all right, well,
Oh
you're four
shit.
away. Yeah, you might
Damn.
as well just stick it out.
Yeah. When will you make
Yeah.
CW3?
I get looked at. I just pinned CW2, so 5 years is typically what it
Okay.
takes.
Damn.
Um, yeah,
I've seen some of the cool ass fucking places you've flown. Like, what's your favorite?
dude, that's a tough question, man.
Yeah.
That is really hard. Uh, I'm so thankful to be out here. I just want to say that, like, flying in Europe it is so surreal sometimes. Like
Yeah.
flying through Bulgaria. I mean, you're flying over
Yo.
tiny, tiny towns, you know,
Yeah.
in this like $43 million helicopter, and you're in control of it. You're just like, holy shit, dude! Like, we're really in Bulgaria right now. I went to Greece a lot. I think one of the
Dude,
cool
Greece is the fucking best.
Greece. It's a little bittersweet for me because where we were staying, however, Greece in itself, the food was super good. The
Oh,
coffee there is some of the best coffee I ever had.
no shit.
Oh, they take coffee there very seriously, and you can tell
Hell
it
yeah.
is awesome. Croatia was beautiful. Croatia is probably,
Yeah.
yeah, Croatia's up there. I've flown into Croatia a couple times. I stayed in Dubrovnik. That was really nice. And then I was in Split, Croatia for a week. Split, Croatia was really cool. Small little town off the coast. We were right on the water. That was super nice. I go to the Netherlands soon. We worked with the Dutch a couple times. The Dutch are awesome. They love
Yeah.
working with us. They love like seeing what our capabilities are. Been to Poland. Poland was really cool. They let us like, hey, you guys can go shred, man. Do what you guys got to do. We're like, oh shit, this is sweet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, if I had to say my favorite place I've flown to, I'd say Croatia. Probably,
Yeah.
probably up there. Flying that coastline is
Just
nuts, man.
damn. Do you
Yeah,
ever like, oh shit, I'm the one in control. Like, fuck, I can't just like, I can't enjoy it, but like, it's all on me if something goes wrong.
yeah. Well, we have two pilots. One of them is a pilot in command. One of them's a pilot, and we work together. And they're either way. There's definitely times where like we were flying over islands in like Montenegro and like Croatia and stuff, and like people out on their boats. Like it's summertime. They're out like
Damn.
yeah on these yachts and stuff, and like we're just flying over them. And I'm looking down like this is insane, man. It's so surreal.
Damn. Do
Yeah,
you still get that like excited feeling every time you fly?
every time,
Damn.
every
And
single
how
time.
often are you guys flying? Like actually getting up?
It depends. Like usually once a week, sometimes twice a week. Sometimes if you're on a big mission, like next week in the Netherlands, it's every day for 5 days. You're flying.
Just getting, kind of getting the reps in, getting super comfortable again. Not that
Yeah,
you would lose that comfortability, I guess, but
yeah. It's actually starts settling in a little bit more. The more you fly, you get more experience. You get start calm down a little bit, and then you start looking at like becoming a pilot in command. And there's a lot more responsibility with that. So you just really you're like constantly studying, constantly learning. You get to fly these different missions, and you're um, having fun. You're enjoying it, but also you're like, all right, I have a goal, and I want to make sure like I stay focused on that goal.
yeah. Is there any fucking around going on up there? Are y'all grab assing or like, oh, let's fuck with these people? You probably can't say, but I like to think that y'all are still broskies up there.
We definitely keep it that way. So we are very tight knit as a crew. So one of the like the unique things about the aviation community is like you'll have like I have a lot of us are W-2s or higher, and a lot of the crew dogs, like the members in the back, they're all enlisted or junior enlisted. And when we hang out, there's like no rank. Everyone's just like, everyone's first
That's cool.
name. Everyone is super chill, and we like to keep it that way because like if there is an emergency, we don't want like any tension. Like we're
Yeah,
brothers, we're sisters. Let's take care of each other and let's focus on being safe, having a good time, but also like we're professionals and we want to have fun, but we know what's at stake.
yeah. Do you like being a warrant officer? I like to think like you don't have to show up at 6 o'clock formations anymore. You can fucking stroll in at 8:30 to go to the gym
Yeah.
whenever you want. Like, is that pretty nice?
Yeah. It's super. And I take that well, you know that I love fitness. So
Yeah,
I take my personal time in regards to the gym like very seriously. Damn, my phone keeps the battery.
that's
I
all
don't
right.
charge it right now. But yeah, I like going to the gym on my own time, and I don't. We really don't go to PT unless it's like, oh, the battalion commander, the brigade commander's coming, or um,
Yeah,
usually once a week, like the first day of the week, either Monday or Tuesday, we'll go for a run together, just to kind of get
that's
accountability,
cool
see how
though.
everybody's week. Yeah, oh, it's cool, man. It's real chill. I like it. I have no complaints.
Yeah. Are y'all still taking PT tests? Do y'all have to do that shit?
Maybe.
We write it down that we do. We write it down that we do. Is it still 222, or are y'all doing the new or some form of new?
It's
Like,
the
what is
new
the
one.
Army doing as a whole right now?
We're doing the ACFT, so it's a little different than the APFT. I was not a fan of the APFT, man. The push-ups,
No,
sit-ups, and the 2 mile run. I did not like that at all.
no.
This one, the ACFT, I think is a little more realistic when it comes to like strength and conditioning. So you have a
Yeah,
deadlift in there, you have a ball throw, there's a plank, you have a sprint drag carry, which is tough.
I
Um,
remember testing a version of this. Yeah,
yeah,
it was legit.
that shit's rough. Yeah. 2 mile run is still in there. But I like doing the ACFT more than I like doing the APFT. I don't have any issues with
Yeah,
it.
you actually feel like, oh, I'm in like a soldier instead of just
Yeah.
the fucking. I can't. Like, what are we doing? Doing push-ups and sit-ups, and then everybody, you know, the profile warriors, and it's like, you're walking, bro. Like, get
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. We
And it's
had
like, well, walkers have different standards.
yeah, different standards and for whatever they got going on. But we used to see it in basic a lot. Like you would get some of the soldiers they'd have a really high PT score, but when they rucked, they were terrible at rucking because there was weight involved, right?
Yeah,
Push-ups and sit-ups is like whatever, if you're like a lot of them are like super skinny and they just be out there cranking push-ups and sit-ups out, and you put a ruck on them, they start slowing down. So I think the ACT is a little more realistic to kind of gauge like where
yeah,
you need to be and where you're at.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Mm.
What's the defect food like there where you're at? Do you go
Dude,
to the defect?
I've been here. I've been there a couple times. It's not bad. Breakfast is all right.
Breakfast is
Uh,
always the play at the
yeah,
defect for sure.
breakfast. The army has got breakfast down, so they got omelets in there.
Yeah,
They got biscuits and gravy
hell
and
yeah.
stuff. A bunch of fruit. Like it's super nice. Other than that, I really don't. I usually come home and eat something quick, chill out a little bit, or we'll go to like the PX or even go off post. Might find a little like German cantina that has like sandwiches and stuff. We'll go there.
The best.
Yeah,
Sandwiches are just different in Europe, bro. It's like
yeah,
you don't feel like a complete piece of shit whenever you eat it. You're just like,
yeah,
this is just what you do here. Like, I'm gonna go walk 2 miles around this town anyways. Like, this feels great.
yeah. Yeah, it is nice. The food, the quality of food out here is a lot better, I think. Um, so I have no problems with it. I love trying out all the different cultures, all the different foods, different
Yes.
coffees, different beers, stuff like that. So it's an experience.
Hell yeah. Dude, some of the best steaks I've ever had is in Germany at like Argentinian steakhouses for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Like that's the only like steakhouses. It's Argentinian like beef. It's like, oh, the melted butter and shit on top. Like, come on.
I haven't been to one yet. I'll have to go check one out.
Oh, dude, you gotta find one.
Yeah.
They'll put fucking this big ass thing of garlic butter like on top. Like that's the deal. And then you'll see like
Oh,
they usually are like baking the bread and shit like right there in front of you. And it's like everything just feels fresher over there. Maybe it's
yeah,
just you want it to be different than America, but like
yeah.
chain restaurants aren't really a thing.
No, no. There's a McDonald's off post, and that's really the only thing that's open fast food wise, like late. And even the
Yeah,
McDonald's tastes better. When
it
you first
does.
get here, they tell I don't know if they told you, but like they told us like we had a little hometown brief and it was like, hey, this is what to expect. These are the differences. But there's a lot of like legalities that go into foods and like stuff they can put in it. So
Yeah.
I guarantee you like that's why the quality of food out here is a lot better.
Oh, for sure. I was just now getting into like, that's when grass fed and like paleo was starting to become a thing. This was like 2010 maybe. And I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to like we had a sister unit, German Bundeswehr unit.
Hmm.
Bundeswehr? Yeah.
Yeah, Bundeswehr.
And I was like, oh, you guys have like grass fed beef? He's like, grass fed? Like, that's just how
Yeah.
everything is. Like, grass fed free range, like, you can't have like chickens like in like a fucking closet. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
we don't do that. I'm like, oh, that's cool then. All right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Makes
You're like,
sense.
all right, I can get down with that.
Yeah, I
That's
can for
the
sure get
it's
down with
super
that.
nice. I've definitely there's definitely some good spots around town. I there's times like we'd have like breakfast in Greece, and then we'd fly back to Germany, which is a 2 day trip. we'd stop in Austria, and then you're having a steak in Austria, and you're just like, dude, this is crazy, man. Like, I'm so, I feel so bougie right now.
Yeah.
It's nice,
But I'm
dude. It's
getting
nice
paid
though.
for this? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I'm getting paid for this right now. It's pretty cool.
How long are you going to be in Germany, you think? Like, will you try
So
to extend or?
I did. I extended. I'll be here for 2 more years, and I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah.
I
Family
love the
there with you?
company. No, this is a difficult topic, but we're not together anymore.
Okay.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. Like we're still really good friends. Um, good co-parents. So uh, it just didn't work out. You know, we got together super young, and
Yeah.
as time goes on, like you grow up a little bit, and sometimes you grow apart, and that's okay. It happens.
Yeah,
But yeah,
dude. It's
we have kids
glad to
together.
hear. Yeah. Glad to hear like co-parenting. Like, that's so important for kids, man. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah. We're very focused on that right now. So
Yeah.
it's good. It's good having that like same mentality. Like, okay, let's take care of our girls the best way we can. Even though like
Yeah.
we didn't work out, that doesn't mean that they have to have a terrible childhood, you know.
Yeah. So
So
what's after Germany in 2 years? Like, do you see that far forward or what would you want to do?
I want to stay Oconus, man. Either Korea,
Yeah.
Honduras, something like that. Like I don't have a desire to go back to the U.S. right now. I can still visit
Yeah,
my
man.
girls whenever, you know. But I kind of want to see the world, man.
Dude, hell
See the
yeah.
world.
There was
Yeah.
a couple of dudes like that were like just salty staff sergeants when I were in, and they're still in Germany. Like, they've been there for going on 20 years and they just keep finding ways to get extended or whatever. Like, that's cool. It's like, don't come back here, bro. Like, you know what
Dude,
it is over here?
some people get out and like retire here. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm plugging my phone in right now.
Oh, you're all good.
Uh, yeah,
What does a Chinook pilot do in the civilian world? Like, what would you want to do?
there's a couple different things that we could do. So they do have Chinook civilian side. A lot of it is like forestry, like firefighting and stuff.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah,
Dumping that shit?
yeah, going like in Oregon, I know Washington,
Yes.
California. Some people have goals like flying for the airlines. I don't really want to do that. So some people transition. Some people they'll go fly for like a medical company. So you're not
Okay.
necessarily flying a Chinook, but you're still a pilot, and you get to go like life flight. You get to if there's a car accident somewhere, you know, you could life flight them out of there to the hospital. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different things that'll be available as long as like you have a good hour amount, you know, and that's as far as I'm. Everyone's always like, you know, make sure you get over 1,000 hours, or you could look at different companies and they're like, hey, we would like you to have 1,500 hours or something like that.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
So
Uh, can you go past 20? Is the Army kind of like, I feel like you could with such a specialized job that you have. Like, can you go
mm,
25 years, 30 years even?
yeah, I know. I think the CW4. There's a couple CW4, CW5s that have been in for 25, 30 years. So
Yeah, at that point, it's like you're not even really like you are a soldier, but I mean, you're just like a pilot.
yeah,
Like,
you're way up
just
there. Yeah.
being a pilot. Like, you don't, nobody's telling you shit.
Yeah. They get into like more of like it's kind of sucks because like your flight time goes down a lot at the higher you go up, but you get more of a like obviously you go up in rank and you get to oversee a lot more. You get more responsibility and it's nice. Like our CWAB, that's his title. He basically came down, sat us down, and was like, "Look, I want to know like what can I do for you guys to help make your lives better? Like, are there any complaints or anything you want to see done differently? Is there anything that we're doing good?" And it was just a conversation. It was awesome, man. It was awesome to see.
That's
Like,
cool.
yeah, sometimes you see those higher ups, and you kind of worried that they're so disassociated from the troops. You kind of worry that like, I don't know if they forgot about us. So when you sit down with your battalion commander even your brigade commander, your CWAB, anything like that, and they have those conversations with you, it's super nice to know that they're still thinking about you, you know?
That's cool that,
Mm,
I wonder about the modern day military army force and how the difficulties in it and, technology and just everything going on in the world. So it's cool to hear that you're still feel that support from people that you work for and around. Like, that's cool. That's
yeah,
still
absolutely.
out there. It gives me hope. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
It's
and you
like, dude,
both,
I
man.
couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine trying to, be in charge of a couple of troops that have fucking TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's tough.
That gets, I'm thankful like I've never been in that position, but I know how challenging that may be um, since everything is so, it can be so public now. And then obviously, like if you go back to when you were 18, like not even 19, you're young and you think you're like invincible and you know everything. You're kind of, you're kind of a rebel. I was anyway. And I can imagine encountering a soldier like that and having to try and explain to them, like, look, I understand that what you're doing is fun, but let me offer you a different perspective on some things that could
Yeah,
potentially like affect you and like your brothers and sisters around you.
yeah, for sure. And realizing, like, damn, most soldiers are so young too that they
Hmm.
just don't even they don't even. I don't know. I came in a little bit later. I was 23, which was like old in basic training. So it's like I've lived through some college. I've had to have my own job and like
Hmm.
gone through some of this stuff. But if you don't, dude, like they don't know. Like I'm
Hmm.
fucking 21 years old. I'm living in Germany. I got a
Hmm.
paycheck coming in. Like you can't tell me fucking nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you're technically right. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I came in at 23 as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
Isn't that
I had
weird?
it.
Like a little bit, I don't know, you're looked at as like the old man.
Yeah, 100%. It is nice though, like you said, you had some life experience going into joining, and I feel like some of the younger soldiers don't realize like how easy the army can be. You
Oh,
know,
dude. Yeah.
it's you got a uniform, you have someone telling you where to be, when to be there, you know what you're doing that day, like your job wise. Sure, you got field exercises and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's like, it's not bad. It's not a bad life.
Yeah. And you can, at least for me, like, you can still find yourself. You can figure out, like, I'm still able to travel around Europe and
Hmm.
got married and did that with my wife and was able to go to the gym and go to all these restaurants and shit. Like, there's more to it than just, I don't know. It could be awesome for some people for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of young guys in our like a lot of the junior enlisted are obviously like 22, 23, young, 19, some just super young. And it's good to be able to like have that one-on-one conversation and friendship with them to tell them like, man, if I had someone give me this advice when I was your age, like it would have been a little easier for me. So I'm hoping you take this the
Yeah.
right way and like you're in Europe, go enjoy Europe. You don't have to get drunk every weekend. You could go and see a different country and see a different city and like check out the culture, and that. But when you come back, because you're not going to be here forever, you know what I mean?
No.
When you get back to the US, you can tell your friends and family, like, oh, yeah, I saw this place and I met this person and I went to this
Yeah.
museum or I experienced this. And those people will never get that.
Dude. And you think it's going to be so easy to like just, oh, I'll just come back all the time. Like, no, you won't. Like, I've been back, you know, 5 times, luckily, since I've been out, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
still, like, you'll eventually have kids and shit, and that makes it even harder. But
Yeah.
for me, I'll always have those memories of traveling around Europe. My brother came over for a week, and we had this Opel minivan and drove it to Paris, drove it down to like Austria. Like, it was fucking
Yeah.
awesome. Like, I'll never forget that time. Like, but I forgot all the times that I've blacked out drunk off of fucking German beer or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
create those memories that like this shit's for you. Like it's
Mhm.
hard to have this free opportunity again, I guess.
No, you're right. And the core memories that you brought up are something that are worth more than anything you'll ever buy or drink or eat or whatever. Like there is nothing like um, being in Europe with your brother or like one of your best friends or even your crew, and you're out at a steakhouse in Croatia just enjoying life and take a minute to realize like, damn, 10 years ago, if you'd have told me this, I would have laughed.
Yeah,
I would have
just
been like, there's no way.
PB2 Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's no way. Future me would have been like, yeah, dude, you're going to be a pilot here in about 10 years, flying Chinooks out in Europe, enjoying the culture. I just would have, what?
Yeah, what are we talking about
Who are
again?
you
Remind
again?
me.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, dude, I'll let you go, man. I know it's late there and dude, can we do this again? I just liked
I
hanging with you.
absolutely, man. I'm glad we were finally able to do this.
Yes, for
Finally.
real. You're the first yeah, you're the first like active duty actual dude still doing it that I've had on. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I always like I texted you earlier and I was like, damn, I wanted to do this last month, but it gets so busy and I wanted to be able to have a time where I could sit down uninterrupted
Yeah.
and give my attention because I know what you do serious. So I'm like, nah, I gotta give Brian like everything I got. So I'd be honored to come back
Dude.
on, man.
Dude, for real. I love it. I have so much more questions just about fucking your life. Like drill sergeant, like it's
Yeah,
such a cool journey for real.
it has. I'm very blessed, man. I've had a unique journey, I think, and there's definitely been like some challenges. But I've always, initially, you hit a challenge and you kind of get shook a little bit, but you're able, I think the Army has taught me plenty of valuable ways to be able to get through those and embrace like what you're going through, learn from it, and then it becomes a part of you and you grow into this person and you're able to influence other people, soldiers and people you meet. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm super blessed to be out here, man.
Dude, that's so true because I guess that's one of the good on the good sides of whenever you're in the military and you don't have anywhere to go, like there's no option of just quitting. Like you
Mhm.
just have to kind of deal with the shit that comes at you and you have to figure out how to get through it because guess what? Fucking formation is at 6:30,
Yeah.
06. Like every
Yeah.
morning, no matter what. Like you have to figure it out. Like I've never thought of it that way. So that's a
Mm.
cool mindset.
Yeah, you still gotta go to work the next day and you still have people counting on you too. So
Yeah.
luckily, recently the Army's had like a huge push for mental health, which is awesome. There's been a
Oh,
lot
dude,
of,
that's cool. What does that look like?
we have like, I go to therapy. I try and go once a week. Sometimes like when it gets a little busier, it's kind of hard just because which isn't the right answer. But the reality of it is like there's plenty of resources for us out here and more than I've seen in the past. So it's nice knowing like, hey, I can go spend an hour, hour and a half a week, talk to my therapist. Sometimes it could be a problem that I want to talk about. Sometimes it's like I just want to go in there and vent or just bullshit. Just take an hour away from
Yeah.
everything and get it, just sit in there and not have to think about work or whatever else I got going on. Same thing for the soldiers.
Damn. Do you see kind of the enlisted and lower enlisted doing the same thing? Like our dudes
Hmm.
out there going to therapy?
I actually
Dude.
went with one of my good friends. I I won't say his name. I don't want to put his business out there, but he was curious about therapy, and I had been talking to him about it. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, it might be intimidating at first because you've never been, but I'm telling you, just go one time. And he was like, okay. And then he asked me to go with him, and I almost started crying. I was like, fuck. Yeah,
Damn.
of course. Like, hell yeah, I'll go with you, man. I'll go with you. I'll sit in there. You could talk about whatever you want to talk about, and I'll support you, man. So I got to do that.
Dude, what the fuck is going on in the army? This is awesome, man.
Right? See? And it's awesome because
Damn.
like you, how long you been out? 12 years?
Yeah, like 12 years.
Okay, so like 12 years ago, so this is a perspective that I like hearing from because just like you said, like what the hell's going on in the army? That's awesome. It's like, yeah, dude, sometimes you talk to these guys and gals that got out a long time ago and they didn't have these resources. It wasn't
No,
like that.
dude. So I remember, like, looking back, it's like, damn, that's fucking crazy. So one of the girls that was used to be in our unit, she had been out less than a year, and flippantly, like, our like platoon sergeant or something was like, "Hey, so and so committed suicide yesterday." Yeah. Anyways, we're like, "Yo, like, she used to live across the hallway from me in the barracks." Like, and in my mind at the time, I remember thinking like, this should probably be a bigger deal, right? Like,
Yes.
we know that person.
Hmm.
There's 50 of us here that know that. What is going on? But you couldn't say that. There wasn't like an open
Yeah.
dialogue around people's feelings. It was like, oh, we gotta fucking get to shift or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's cool to see like the evolution of even people talking about it and encouraging, even being like, oh, this is like, yeah, I go to therapy. This is what it's done for me. And just people knowing, the other enlisted people knowing that. Like, there's no way that that was encouraged when I was in. Like, people
Hmm.
went through divorces and nasty shit, dude, and it was not, oh, maybe we should like get some therapy to like help us out. No way.
Yeah, it was stigmatized, It was if you go to
For
therapy, you're
sure.
like you're weak, you can be perceived as like a failure, and that is starting to trend the opposite way. Now, I would say not even starting to trend. It's been the opposite side for quite some time now, and it's a blessing to see that and hear that because unfortunately, like you do hear about people taking their own life, and you always wonder like, man, maybe I could have done something to like prevent that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's hard to think about. It's not something that you want to see trending. So I think that the future in regards to the army and the mental health, I think the future is bright. So and I'm very thankful for that because there are the youth in general could benefit immensely from this stuff.
Oh, dude. Is it an actual service member that's your therapist, or is it a civilian? Or do
So
you get
you
the
there
option?
there's two options. Yeah. So you could go see a behavioral health specialist, and usually they are in the army. We have a couple. They're captains, but you also
Yeah.
have a civilian who is completely detached from the army. So they'll tell you like, hey, whatever you say in here stays in here, unless it's like you're talking about harming yourself or someone else. So
Yeah.
you
Damn.
get that like protection, if you need it, and that security where like I can go talk to this person. They're not going to judge me. They're going to help me. I don't have to worry about my career.
Yo, this is fucking cool, man. Like, I just
Yeah.
think of all the like, the life stuff that happens because we're all humans. Divorce
Mhm.
happens, deaths happen, and it was another day back in the day. Like, that was
Yeah.
just, yeah, damn, that's
Just
fucking cool,
whatever.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really was just whatever. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I guess it is whatever. So
I
I've had
guess
to
I'll.
like deal with like it's not whatever though. Like, even when
Mhm.
stuff happens now, to me, I'm working on like, oh no, like it's okay to have feelings around something or want to do something
Mhm.
instead of just like it just being
Mhm. Good, man. That's
whatever.
that's that's good to hear. Good for you.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're doing that.
yeah. I go to a therapist. My wife's a therapist. Like,
Oh
this
shit,
is
hell
like
yeah.
our world. Yeah, this is our world. So like, she'll be super pumped to hear like the army's actually has therapists
Yeah, I bet. I hope puts a smile on her face. That's good.
for sure. Oh, dude, last little story. It's in my book.
Mhm.
Which, shoot me your address, by the way, on
Yeah,
just
I got you.
message me. Um, so my roommate one time in the barracks in Germany, like, he was living it up, dude. Like, every night going out to the bars downtown,
Mhm.
like just a drunk, like an actual drunk. Um, nobody's gonna say shit. It was just like, oh, like you're
Hmm.
still showing up to shift on time, like still technically whatever. And it took him literally getting run over on the Autobahn to like they sent him off to treatment for 6 weeks, 9 weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
But it
my
was just like,
God.
yo, like he decided to try to walk back. So I don't know if have you ever been into like Wiesbaden, the town, like from the base?
A little bit, yeah.
There's just like that little highway right there. It's probably like 2 miles, maybe 5 miles
Hmm.
or something. Not even. There was like trails that you can walk if you know like the trail route. But he was just like walking on the shoulder and like got to the exit and a car just like clipped him. And he came back to our room. I was asleep and I didn't know what was happening. Got woke up by like pounding on the door, like people trying to like kick in my door. I was like, yo. And I finally woke up and went to the door and like my friends, also MPs, like came storming in. I looked over on his side of the room and there's just fucking blood everywhere. Like on the floor, on the bed, like dried, like caked on his face. I
Hmm.
legit thought he was dead. And nope, he just fucking had undertakered himself up and like walked back to base and fell asleep.
Dude.
And they were like, you're going to fucking inpatient, like detox, like treatment. And I
Oh my
remember like,
God.
yeah, guys, we probably should have fucking sent the alcoholic to do that a long time ago. Maybe we could have
Yeah.
saved him from getting fucking clipped.
And going through all that
Like,
trauma.
and going through, yeah, all that
Yeah.
trauma that he's probably now working through. But yeah, so long
Jesus.
story short, like, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, dude. Well, I'll hit you up and we'll do this again for sure.
Please do, man. Please do. In the meantime,
All right.
take care of yourself, man, and we'll hear from you soon.
All right, dude. Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah, later, man.
Bye.